everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's time to make some budget-friendly Americana decor. These are with free or inexpensive items. The first one we're going to make is this American flag banner, and we made this with some inexpensive items. I picked up these 97-cent fat quarters from the Walmart, and as well as this burlap banner, or you could use these burlap banners already pre-cut from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to use some jute twine that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, scissors, and a glue gun, and glue sticks. Okay, so here we go. The first thing we're going to do is take our 5.5-inch wide burlap ribbon, and we're going to cut 10-inch pieces. My banner only is going to have 5 different banners hanging from it, but you can do as many as you want depending on where you want to hang it. Okay, so I just measure one, and then I use the first one that I measure to cut off of the next remaining 4. Okay, and I tried to keep a straight line in the beginning, but then I decided we're going to hem it anyway, so there's no need. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold over a 1-inch hem on one end, and we're going to glue it down. Do be careful when you're gluing the burlap with a hot glue gun, as it's very holey and you may get glue come up through your fingers. Okay, so be careful. Now, if you've watched me make burlap banners before, like the Mr. and Mrs. Rustic wedding banner, then you'll see I like to take a straight line, making a straight line basically with one of the rows of the holes. Easy for me to say. Even though it's going to still be wavy, it does make it look a little bit more finished. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do there. First I'm finger pressing it to line up with the hole, and then I go ahead and I glue it, and then make sure to tack down the ends, tack them down well. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut the red stripe fabric. Now if you don't get red stripe fabric and you just get like a red or white fabric, you're going to use it to replace the same. But this red and white fat quarter was 97 cents at Walmart. But if you find something similar, and it is not exactly 13 stars, stripes, it's going to be way more than 13 stripes, but it's just for the effect. It's supposed to make it look rustic. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut 4 inches by 8 inches. We're going to cut 8 inches long by 4 inches wide, and then we're going to glue it sort of in the center, but 1 inch up from the bottom. And I did this by measuring, just try to match the top unfinished raw edge with the top unfinished raw edge of the burlap. Okay, and I glued around 3 sides, and then I just used the first one as a guide to figure out where the next 4 would go. All right, and when I was cutting out the stripe fabric, I made sure I had a red stripe on both sides. So if you have a different fabric and you're not doing exactly those measurements, that was the only thing that I think that made it feel a little bit more authentic, is I made sure I ended and started with a red stripe, as the American flag is. Okay, so again, you're just going to repeat this for however many you have. If you feel like you want to press this so it's not wrinkled, you go right ahead. I didn't find it necessary since it was that really handmade rustic look I was going for. So then this particular fat quarter kind of had almost perfect amount of stars. If I would have made the box a little bit smaller, I would have actually had 50 stars on there because the way it's laid out. But again, that was not what the look I was going for. It wasn't authentic flag. So I went ahead and you're going to cut a piece that's 2 inches wide, by 4.5 inches long. And you're going to go ahead and place it. When you're looking at the banner hanging, the flags will be hanging vertical. Then you always want to make sure that your flag's blue square is in the upper left-hand corner. So if you're looking at your flag hanging horizontally, you know that the blue is in the upper left-hand corner. If you're looking at hanging vertically, it still has to look like it's in the upper left-hand corner. So to some people, this might actually look like I'm doing it backwards. If we were hanging it horizontally, it would be doing it backwards, but we're not because we're hanging it vertically. Okay, just a little tip for you guys, a little patriotic symbol that you need to know, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this again I'm making sure that it's up to a red stripe underneath it. Again, just trying to be semi-authentic. And right up to the edge of the fabric and up to the raw edge of the burlap. And we're going to end up hemming the top, so that's why I'm not worried about the raw edges at the top, okay? And again, just glue around all three sides with the hot glue, and be careful as you will. All right, so now we're going to go ahead. I've gone through them and I've picked out one that ends up being a little shorter, and I'm going to do the shortest one to make sure I have at least an inch fold over on the shortest one. So what I did was, if you saw there real quick, is I put an extra glue stick at the 1 inch mark and folded over the glue stick. I didn't glue the glue stick in the pocket. I just used the glue stick to create a pocket. Okay, and then I repeated that same technique with the remaining 4 banners. But what I did was, I didn't measure an inch down from each of the 4 banners. I used the first one completed size to figure out the completed size for the other 4. Does that make sense? Yeah. I wanted them all to be uniform. So in case one was cut a little short, I wanted to make sure I went ahead and I used that one to create the other one's pockets. But we're just going to do the same thing. You're going to put the glue sticker in there, fold over the glue stick, and glue to the edge of the fabric. And again, we're just creating a little pocket that we're going to put the jute twine through to hang the banner. Now I'm using this mechanical pencil, but anything with like a clip, if you have a giant needle or a hook, you can go ahead and use that. A crochet hook would work great too. But I just thought that this mechanical pencil was great. I put the loop of the thread underneath the clip, and then I used it to thread it through, and then I repeated with all 4. And there you have it. Here's hanging on my mantle. Again, if you want more, if you want it fuller, you go for it. But this is the look I was looking for. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make these luminaries. I used very little money to make these. I used this package of napkins, but I only used 1 napkin from the Dollar Tree. And I've upcycled old jelly jars and salsa jars. I also used Mod Podge, which you can get at the Dollar Tree. You can use different napkins, by the way. You don't have to do this for Americana Decor. And a scissor, and then a foam sponge brush, which I didn't show here. Just make sure the jar is nice and clean. I ran mine through the dishwasher. You make sure you get off all the stickers. And the trick is to cut out the section that you want to put on the jar. And I'm going to show you 2 different techniques. One is a reverse decoupage and one is decoupage. One is reverse decoupage, which means you're going to see through the jar and you're going to see the flag. And one of them is the light is going to come through the flag on the jar. Okay? Okay, so the first one we're going to do is we're going to lay a bunch of decoupage on the jar and spread it out with the foam brush. I'm just going to like where it bends in the top to down the bottom, okay? And I'm going to show you, let's see, double layer. I've decided to do a double layer on this decoupage. And then I'm going to show you the second layer technique in a second, okay? So I want to make sure you have plenty of glue. And the trick to using really thin napkins and to not ripping your really thin napkins is to use plenty of decoupage. Okay, whether you use glue or actual Mod Podge, however you decide to do it, it's really important that you don't try to drag the semi-dry brush over the napkin because it will tear. And don't overwork it. Use plenty of decoupage. Just go over it one time. I use the brush to fold over the edges. I make sure, to roll over the bottom. And I make sure that I get around all the edges and coat it really nicely. And if you see here, I'm kind of using a stippling technique, which is also helpful. Cutting off the excess napkin on the bottom and then using the decoupage to roll it with the edge of the jar, since the jar is round on the bottom. Okay? And then again, make sure you use plenty of decoupage. Try not to dry brush a napkin. It will fall apart on you. Let's set that one aside. And we'll go ahead and we'll work on our small jar. Like the first jar, I only laid the Mod Podge between the glass seams. So I just did half the jar. You could do the whole entire jar if you want to, but just like that other jar, I just did half of this. And this one we're going to do a reverse decoupage. So I'm going to cut out one of the flags off the napkin, and I'm going to take off the white backing. And then I'm going to go ahead and place where I want it. I like to have the blue stars and some stripes. And cut off the excess bottom, and then I just took extra decoupage on top of the napkin and spread it with a nice generous coat. And just like before, even though it's reverse decoupage, and especially since it's only one layer, you want to make sure you don't spread a dry brush. Okay? And once they're dry, I've taken some jute twine and I'm wrapping it around the jar. And I wrapped it a bunch of times, but I only make sure that I glue the very top row the entire way. You don't really need to glue every inch of this jute twine. Then I'm going to take 2 layers of jute twine and I'm going to tie a bow. This is from Kelly Barlow Creations. Loves little jute bows on everything, and I just love her channel. So you guys check her out. And I'm going to glue it to the front of the reverse decoupage mini jar. And I've taken these red, white, and blue glass beads from the Dollar Tree, and I've put them in the bottom. I also had this little glass votive holder that actually hung perfectly in that jar. See that? And I stuck a white votive down in there. And then I did some jute twine to the large jar that I did the traditional decoupage to. And again, I just glued the one row that went right along the edge so it didn't fall in. And decided, do I want a bow? I don't know if I want a bow on that one. So I didn't put a bow on that one, but I dropped the candle inside. And here's how they look all lit up and glowing. So I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial or this technique. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I will be happy to answer whatever you need. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you can get more fun DIYs on a budget. And as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!